Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6:30, and I will call this regular meeting of the Burnsville City Council to order. It is our tradition to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and we invite you to join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have announcements and awards and proclamations this evening. Announcements have to do with all of our upcoming meetings. We have regular council meetings scheduled for Monday, November 5th at 6:30 p.m. And the reason why we're having our meeting on Monday is because on November 6th is Election Day, and we're not allowed to have meetings during Election Day. So then we will be meeting on Monday, November 5th at 6:30. And then Tuesday, November 20th at 6:30. We have a work session scheduled for Tuesday, November 13th at 6:30 and Tuesday, November 27th at 6:30. We have a special work session scheduled for Tuesday, October 23rd at 6:30, and this is for the department budget presentations. Now, I would like to also remind everyone that during our meetings with about the budget, and it's about truth and taxation, the department budget is Tuesday, the 23rd of October, and the budget work session is November 13th. The other budget work session is November 27th. These are all on Tuesdays. And then we adopt the budget and the final levy on Tuesday, December 4th, all at 6:30. And the public is welcome to speak at those meetings. I will be happy to recognize anyone who wants to offer comment during those sessions. Also would like to remind everyone that the Budget Open House, it's a video and is now available, which highlights the major services provided by the city and explains how they are funded. This video and other budget information will be available at www.burnsville.org/budget and will also be played periodically on BCTV 16 for Comcast cable subscribers. So please, it's a wonderful video. It is very informative, and it gives you some background and gives you a good view of what's going on in the city and in each department. So please take time to view the video. We have a proclamation, and the proclamation has to do with Burnsville STEM Technology Week, October 22nd through October 26, 2012. Whereas the STEM-based technology industry is a dynamic part of Minnesota's prosperous economy, and promotion of this sector's strength, success, and high quality of life is an integral part of Minnesota's economic development strategy. Whereas STEM-based companies provide high-skill, high-wage jobs which significantly contribute to Minnesota's high standard of living and economic vitality. Whereas the City of Burnsville has an economic development initiative to grow the base of companies utilizing science, technology, healthcare, engineering, and math. And the City of Burnsville ranks 11th in the state for a number of manufacturing firms. And the City of Burnsville ranks 8th in the state for the number of information-based firms. The city ranks 12th in the state for the number of healthcare-based firms. And the city ranks 10th in the state for the number of scientific-based firms. And whereas the City of Burnsville takes great pride in its STEM-based companies and their contributions to our community, and whereas the City of Burnsville Chamber of Commerce, the City of Burnsville and the Burnsville Chamber of Commerce will honor its STEM companies by hosting, in partnership with all Dakota County cities and chambers and the Dakota County CDA, a development seminar on October 26, highlighting the services that are available to companies in Dakota County to assist in their growth. Now, therefore, I, Elizabeth Kautz, Mayor of the City of Burnsville, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim October 22nd through October 26th, 2012, to be Burnsville STEM Technology Week, proclaimed this 16th day of October. And the other proclamation has to do with Make a Difference Day. Whereas serious social problems concern our nation and threaten its future, and whereas connecting with others and working together through volunteer services can bridge the difference that separate people and help solve serious social problems. Whereas we, the American people, have a tradition of philanthropy and volunteerism, and whereas millions of self-sacrificing individuals touched and enhanced the lives of millions on the 11th annual day of doing good by giving where there was a need, rebuilding what had been torn down, teaching where there was a desire to learn, and inspiring those who had lost hope. And whereas USA Weekend and its affiliate newspapers and the Point of Life Foundation and its affiliate volunteer centers have joined to promote an annual National Day of Doing Good that celebrates and strengthens the spirit of volunteer service. And whereas volunteer service is an investment in the future we all must share. Now, therefore, I, Elizabeth Kautz, Mayor of the City of Burnsville, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim Saturday, October 27, 2012, to be Make a Difference Day in Burnsville, and urge my fellow citizens to observe this day by connecting with friends, fellow employees and relatives, and with religious, school, and civic groups to engage in projects benefiting their community, proclaimed this 16th day of October, 2012. And it is also this time of the year that we honor those who make a difference here in Burnsville and our community builders. So I'm going to do that from that side. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the City Council and our staff, tonight we honored volunteers prior to the meeting for the work that they give to making our community what it is. And so it is also today that we are proud to present our annual Community Builders Award. The Community Builders Award started in 1998. And since then has been presented each year to individuals, groups, or businesses that have made a contribution that builds community and made a lasting impact on the quality of life of Burnsville. So on behalf of the Burnsville City Council and our staff, I will be presenting 3 Community Builders Award this year. I'd like to ask the winners to please come to the presentation area right here when I read your name to receive your award. And Marty is going to be taking pictures, and so when there's an award for a group, so I'll be presenting to your president, and then for the pictures, if all of you can come forward, and then I'll also ask the members of the City Council to join me in those pictures also. So the first award goes to Sue Bourne, who was the lead teacher of Project Lead the Way initiative that started at Metcalf Junior High in Burnsville. Project Lead the Way was created to engage students in the engineering profession at an early age. The program now is taught in all of the district's junior high school and Burnsville High School. Today, students can take 5 years of engineering-related courses which provide them with preliminary accreditation from the University of Minnesota. As the lead teacher of this program, Sue's students have entered numerous science, technology, education, and math competitions and have consistently been finalists and award winners. Sue has been on the cutting edge of the STEM education and is still engaging students, especially females, early in the technology field and the jobs of the future. So, Sue, we thank you for your effort because it is very important for our children. As you heard, we had a proclamation for STEM, and here you are, been so very successful in doing this. So we thank you for your work. And we have this for you too, and it says, 2012 Community Builders in recognition and appreciation, Sue Bourne, for your dedicated service to the community project, Lead the Way. So if the council can join me, please. Yes, and also, one of the things that I do at this time also is give a starfish pin, and it is about making a difference. So if you don't know the story of the starfish, I'm happy to tell you about it. And I know Sue knows about the starfish story. There's a man who lives by the seashore, and it is his practice to walk the beach. And this one time, as he was walking along the beach, he saw that the beach was just littered with starfish. And he was curious because he saw out in the distance someone who appeared to be dancing, and he kept walking to see what the person was doing. And as he got closer, it was a young man. And he said, "Young man, what are you doing?" And the young man went over and took something out of the gunny sack, skipped over, and threw it into the ocean. And the young man said, "Throwing starfish." The elder gentleman said, "Young man, you can't possibly make a difference. The sun is rising, and it's going to kill all of the starfish that's on the beach." He went over, picked up another starfish, and threw it into the ocean and said, "You made a difference to that one." And he made a difference to that starfish. And so the story is, the moral of the story is that we make a difference one day at a time, one person at a time, one event at a time. And Sue, you made a difference in the lives of so many students who are going to be excelling in the field of science, technology, health, engineering, and math. And so we thank you for all that you do. Okay. And so we'll all go over here. Marty, so, I mean, he's picky, and so we're going to have to just do what he says. Okay, so this is yours.
Right, everybody smile on 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we'll do one more. Smile on 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. The next award goes to the Burnsville Women of Today. This is a chartered organization. It was chartered in 1990, and its mission in Minnesota and in the U.S. is to focus on service, growth, and fellowship for the community. The group currently has more than 40 members from the Burnsville area. The chapter has helped the community and raised funds for worthy community causes for more than 20 years. Members have volunteered for events such as the Burnsville Relay for Life, Fire Muster, Art and All That Jazz Festival, the Garage, and the City Street Cleanup. They have also raised thousands of dollars for local organizations such as Kids in Kinship, 360 Communities, Beyond the Yellow Ribbon, Minnesota Stroke Association, and the Piper Breast Center. The group offers its members the ability to grow by offering personal enrichment classes, leadership opportunities, and fostering members' skills and talent. And with that, we have the president of Burnsville Women of Today, Ms. Sorensen. Thank you so much. And I'm going to pin you too.
Okay.
And thank you for making a difference in our community. So, and for this picture, we're going to ask that all of the women of today come and join us.
Then I really need you to move over.
Now, he's really getting big. Craig, you should join us. Yeah, come on, Craig. We're all on this side. Yeah. Someone on this side. Come on, Sheila, on this side. She's gonna hide the baby. Yeah. Oh. It'll burp right there. Oh, you're gonna hide the baby.
You need to be able to see everybody's face.
Okay.
Mary, move
Can you
in.
see everyone?
Craig,
I think
move in.
so. Except for Greg.
Oh, come on.
Don't hide Mary, though.
1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to take one more over here. On 3, 1, 2, 3.
Stop working, guys.
Okay. And I'm going to give you the box for this. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Earlier this summer, we, the Burnsville Women of Today, hosted a retro run, 5K in July, benefiting the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon organization, which you and Tom Hansen were able to join us at, as well as several other volunteers. So we were very glad to have that. On behalf of the Women of Today, we'd like to present you with a $1,000 check
Oh, thank
for
you.
the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon organization,
Oh,
and we hope you do wonderful things with it.
thank you. We will.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. We're a young organization here in Burnsville, and this will help us a great deal. Already we are getting emails, so we're identifying some of our military families who are going to our need come this winter season and holiday season. So thank you. This is going to be spent for our military families.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, and then our last recipient is Sean Solom, owner of Zombie Board Shop in Burnsville. Sean has been the owner of Zombie Board Shop since it opened in Burnsville in August of 2005. Since that time, he has dedicated and volunteered countless hours and resources to Burnsville's youth. Over the past 7 years, Sean has sponsored and organized and supported Thursday night sessions for local youth snowboard enthusiasts at Buck Hill. He is motivated by helping support area youth while providing a fun and physically active environment. Participation continued to grow for Sean's Thursday night rail jam, which can have as many as 120 youth at one time. Some of Sean's original riders have actually gone on to develop and compete on the national level. What is most impressive is that these events are free, and Sean does everything he can to encourage more participation and opportunities for kids. Sean also volunteers in the Burnsville Skate Park Committee. His goal is to work with city staff and community members to build a better skate park for youth skateboarders. He helped with a fundraiser this past spring and successfully raised $2,000 for the cause. Sean has also decided to donate a portion of every skateboard deck he sells in his shop to the fund. Sean, you are making a great difference in the lives of our youth, and so thank you so much for what you do, and we can't thank you enough and for all that you do. Thank you. So I'm going to pin you, okay?
Okay.
Okay. And because you make a difference. Thank you. And here you go. Come on, Craig.
Great job.
Everybody smile on 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to do one more. Smile on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you so much. Now we move on to the next item on the agenda, and that's citizens' comments. This is the opportunity for anyone in the audience to address the council on an item that is not on the printed agenda and not an application form that will be coming before us at a future date. Is there anyone who wishes to address the council? Seeing no one, we will move on. The next item is additions to the final agenda, and this is for emergency items only. Mr. Ebling, are there any emergency items to come before us?
Staff has none to propose, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Members of the council, no emergency items. We'll move on. The next item is the consent agenda, and this is a grouping of items that's considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. However, an item can be removed from the consent agenda for a separate discussion and vote. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes an item on a consent agenda to be removed for a separate discussion and vote? Mr. Ebling?
None, Madam Mayor, from staff.
Members of the council? I would like a motion then to adopt the agenda, please, the consent agenda.
Motion to adopt.
Okay. Councilmember Coughlin makes the motion.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Sherry. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. And the motion carries. The first item on the regular agenda is the regular meeting of the Economic Development Authority, and I will recess the Burnsville City Council meeting so the Economic Development Authority meeting can convene. President Sherry.
I will call to the meeting of the regular meeting of the Economic Development Authority to order, and would the records show that Commissioner Keeley is absent. Are there any additions to the agenda?
None from staff, Madam President.
Commissioners? Then we'll move on to the consent agenda. I'd entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilmember Coughlin makes a motion. Councilmember Gustafson, or Commissioner Gustafson seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 4 on the regular agenda is the pledge for the tax increment financing revenue for bond issuance, and Ms. Johnston, our finance director, will give us the background.
Thank
Ms.
you,
Johnston.
Madam President. As you all know, we have are planning on issuing bonds today, or have issued bonds today, and what is required is for the Economic Development Authority to actually pledge the TIF revenue. One of the issues was backed by TIF revenue, and so this action before you today is to make that pledge. And I stand for any questions.
Any questions of Ms. Johnston? Then I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve the issuance.
Commissioner Counts makes the
Second.
motion. Commissioner Gustafson makes the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the issue passes. Is there any further business that anyone would like to bring forward? Seeing none, I will entertain a
Motion to
to
close.
close.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And we are adjourned. Back to you.
Thank you. I will now reconvene the Burnsville City Council meeting, and we are at item number 6. Item 6 is a resolution calling for the public hearing for the establishment of the proposed options of the tax increment financing plan for the tax increment financing district number 7, and our community development director, Jenny Faulkner, is presenting. Ms. Faulkner.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. On the previous item of the EDA agenda, on the consent item, was the EDA requesting that the council call for the public hearing on the creation of TIF District Number 7, which is in the MRQ. This action needs to be, of course, approved and ratified by the City Council. The actual public hearing is scheduled for November 20th, and the draft TIF plan is nearly complete for other agencies to review. With that, I will stand for any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Faulkner? This is the ratification of the actions of the EDA. Okay. Seeing none, thank you very much, Ms. Faulkner. Members of the council, I need a motion to adopt the resolution calling for the public hearing.
Move to approve.
Second.
Councilmember Gustafson makes the motion, second by Councilmember Sherry. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Thank you. So item 7 is 3 resolutions awarding the sale of bonds and to approve the 3 bond awards that's detailed in the resolution that's attached. Ms. Heather Johnston is our CFO, and she's presenting. Ms. Johnston.
Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, hopefully you're prepared for some good news today. As you all know, Moody's affirmed our AAA rating, which resulted in bids ranging for 1.4% to 1.6% for our bonds. And so we had some great returns. The $4.92 million issue is the first issue, and that's the TIF issue, and that is at 1.4% interest rate. The second issue is and that, of course, is for the Highway 13 and 5 interchange project. The second issue is $3.005 million for street rehab and reconstruction. That's our utility portion at 1.5%. And then the final issue is $1.34 million, which is also for street rehab and reconstruction, and that's the assessment portion, and that was at 1.6%. So with that, I stand for questions. I don't think it gets much better than that. Thank you to Kelly Stry for all of her work, and then Paul Donna is here as well from Northland Securities, who helped us with this issue. So with that, I stand for questions.
No questions, but I just want to offer congratulations. Thank you for getting the, first of all, that bond rating through, and then the actual bond sale. Thank you very much.
Yes, and Ms. Johnson and Mr. Ebling, thank you very much to you and all of our staff for all of that work. What I think our citizens all need to understand and to know that this AAA bond rating is a wonderful thing for the city of Burnsville, looking at the interest rates that we are presented with this evening. And yes, that there are some things that have impacted our city with regard to our bond rating, and these are things that are beyond our control. Our per capita income is one of those things that's beyond our control. And the loss of market value from $6 billion to $5 billion, that is a market value that's beyond our control. And those are the 2 most important factors, I believe, that Moody's presented to us.
Madam Mayor, that's correct. And the market value is not something that's unusual in this area. And also there have been some state law changes that have impacted that as well. And so we are optimistic that that will turn around.
Yes.
Madam Mayor, if I may, I just want to clarify, it really hasn't affected our rating.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and I just want to emphasize that because people do need to understand our rating
It's
is
AAA.
still, it's the best it can be. It's just the best it can be. So I just want to emphasize that. Thank you.
I
And,
want
Councilmember Coughlin?
our citizens to know that we'll continue to work hard at keeping that AAA rating. It's very important to us, and we've had discussions separately among ourselves of ways that, we'll try to carry that forward.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And to our staff as well, and to to Venue Works and the work that they're doing at the Performing Arts Center, that Moody's also recognized because they're outperforming their business plan. And so thank you, Ms. Johnson, because you are our staff person who is working with Venue Works to make sure, along with our BPAC commission, that they continue to improve. But for a business that's 3 years old and outperforming its business plan, thank you for your work in that regard as well.
Thank you.
So, members of the council, you like those interest rates?
Yes.
And you like the AAA rating?
I like the interest rates since we have to pay them. I wouldn't want to receive them.
Yes, yes. And yes, yes. And so there are 3 resolutions that's before us and for the sale of the bonds, and I would like a motion.
So moved.
Councilmember Coughlin makes the motion.
Second.
And second by Councilmember Gustafson for all 3 attached resolutions. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. And the motion carries. And thank you, staff. Congratulations. And well done. And thank you to our consultants also, to Northland. Thank you. All righty. Now we move on to item number 8. Item number 8 is to consider the draft 2013 legislative agenda and this is to establish the legislative initiative and positions for 2013 legislative session. Mr. Ebling, our city manager, is presenting this item. Mr. Ebling.
Madam Mayor and council members, as the background noted, it has been the council's past practice for several years, I'm thinking maybe like 10 years, to identify items that potentially can be considered in the upcoming state legislative session that would be important to the city. This is very beneficial as the staff works through the daily flurry of legislative actions that happen during session. It allows the staff to affirm and state the city's position on various different proposals that come along, because we have prior guidance from the council in the form of your adopted legislative positions and initiatives. If council were to affirm the draft that is before you tonight or amend it, the next step in its process would be to move that to the Economic Development Commission for comments regarding the positions and initiatives in the document that would have economic development implications. And then we would input any of those recommendations to you, and then at some point, probably at the second November meeting, present it to you for your final adoption. And at the December meeting, then we typically try to establish a time where we can get as many legislators as possible to dialogue with the council about the positions that the council has taken and to solicit their support for supporting those positions. The document has evolved a little bit over the years, but I think council has been sensitive to the fact that when we have 120 priorities, we have no priorities. Yeah. So the goal has typically been to keep the list at under 30. We submitted the draft to you in the background. I'm not sure that council would want to walk through all 28 of these. I might just highlight a couple of them, although I know you've had an opportunity to review them. A couple of them that are new. There are tweaks on several of them, as you would noted in your redlined version of the document. And if that process is okay, I would highlight the new ones and then stand for any questions or comments by the council, and then we'll make the amendments as you direct us. Transportation funding statement number 9 is similar to what we've had in the past, but a little bit more generic, except for one element, and that is to comment on MnDOT maintenance standards. And I know that that's been a troublesome position for the council over the years, and I might add that this is a problem that many cities throughout the state are concerned with, and I believe that the League of Minnesota Cities has similarly taken a position on this part of transportation funding. So that is a newly worded policy this year. Local land use controls number 15 comes from Ms. Faulkner. This affirms and restates the council's position that local zoning authorities should simply be that, locally controlled, and when either the metropolitan governance structure or state planning agency, whatever agency intervenes in the legal and proper establishment of local land use controls, that's not a good thing, because we believe that our Planning Commission and Council are firmly in the grasp of what is best for the city in terms of controlling our land uses. So that is a new one that is suggested to you. Metropolitan governance is slightly restated. This is not position number 19. That is intended to, again, affirm our position on metropolitan governance, that being the favoring of the Council of Governments model, or the COG as it's sometimes called. But it does also propose to supplement our previous statement by adding a notation about our opposition to the expansion of any metropolitan authorities, especially in the areas of adding additional so-called regional systems. And the areas of concern are housing and potable water. Item number 22 is also a new one for this year's edition. It seeks to direct the attention of the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency to an unintended consequence, we believe, of their measures that are being taken to heighten the usage of the resource recovery facilities of the metropolitan region. Specifically, our concern here is that our tipping fees, our host fees, will be impacted potentially by some of the draft versions of what may be done. This does not take a specific position because I think those things might well evolve as over the next weeks and months, but it certainly does say in general that we are a consideration as a host community that needs to be minded as the PCA does its work on this issue. 23 comes from Public Works. It concerns private well drilling and the regulation of placement of private wells in areas that are served by municipal water systems. That has become somewhat of an issue where people have abandoned the municipal water systems and drilled their own well. And the concerns here are not only for the well-being of the utility funds, but also for potential depletions of aquifers and potential pollutions of aquifers. Item number 24 also comes from Public Works. It concerns what we think is bringing government into the 20th century. There are presently requirements for solicitations of bids to be advertised in pre-described print publications. We think that that's a bit archaic and seek the government to realize that we can satisfy the intentions of the municipal contracting law by soliciting under alternative methods. Specifically, online bidding is becoming very, very prevalent, and online advertisements for bidding is becoming very prevalent and are in fact being used at the present time. We use them exclusively on every project, but yet we're required to experience the cost of print publications as well. And we think that's an easy fix for making government a little bit more efficient that will not injure anyone. Item number 25 is a bit of a defensive posture because there has been some movement afoot to cloud the city's ability to hold juveniles in our retention facilities here, in our detention facilities, I should say, for up to 6 hours. That is practice and law of long standing, but there's some movement afoot now to bring that into question by some interpretations that have been made. We seek for the legislature to clarify that because that would be very problematic for us were we not able to house our arrested juveniles for even that short period of time. We do never retain them longer than that, and they're taken to the appropriate juvenile retention facilities, but less than 6 hours becomes problematic for us. Item number 26 seeks to get treatment on our Medicare, specifically Medicare billings for our ambulance charges, and establishes the prudent layperson standard for the payment. This makes it easier for us to file our claims and allows us to realize a better return for our claims. We're severely limited on Medicare runs at the present time. And item number 28, we had a bit of a rewording of this, and we're suggesting that this be listed as an initiative. Mayor Couts and others, Ms. Faulkner, have been very active on a HIP committee, if you remember what HIP is, that will seek some alternative approaches to property code maintenance enforcement, and specifically this seeks to have them be processed via an administrative fine arrangement. This has been done in many other places. This simply seeks to reaffirm our authority, which many attorneys feel that statutory cities already have, but this would affirm that authority via some special legislation that we would hope to attract a sponsor for. So I talked a lot there and still only covered the new ones, but I would be happy to respond as best we can to any comments or questions the council has.
Any comments? The only thing, Mr. Ebling, that is not a question, but for our citizens, because this is one of the issues that we hear about, and this is item number 9, and it's a transportation funding statement. And for our citizens to understand that what we're asking for of the legislature is for the state to abide by our ordinance, and we have property maintenance ordinance, and they don't mow the medians. On 13, we get a lot of phone calls about that, and people think that it's, but one of the things that they also, our residents need to recognize is that, Mr. Ebling, are we allowed to go on that median and mow it because I understand they don't like us to get onto their medians.
Madam Mayor and council members, that would be permitted via a permit. No one can work within the Department of Transportation rights-of-way absent a permit. Now, I'm sure that if we demonstrated that we made the necessary safety precautions and so on, we could acquire a permit, but absent that permit, we would not be allowed to.
Yeah, and so this will call that they comply to our ordinance and that they have to.
We would seek that they properly fund themselves to be able to accomplish that, or to reimburse us if they chose to give us that permit and have us do the work.
Because one of the things that we've done, and we don't do it often, but I think one time, Mr. Eveling, you had asked staff to, because we had many phone calls about that median not being mowed, that we mowed it, and did we try to send them a bill, and they said no?
I think that was in the distant past. We did try that probably.
So this is a good thing. So, members of the council, this is a good thing. And so, I hope that our residents also understand that this is part of our challenge in terms of our work with the state. So, anything else, but I'm really very appreciative of staff and the work that they've done to put this together. A lot of it, we go from year to year on all of these issues, but these are some of the things that we're going to be working hard on. So, you don't have any questions or additions to this, then I need a motion to proceed. Is that correct?
Second.
Yes.
Because we're not adopting it, but...
Madam Mayor, yes, we would interpret your direction as to move this on to the EDC for their recommendations and then to incorporate those and bring it to you for adoption.
So Councilmember Sherry made the motion and second by Councilmember Coughlin to proceed and to move on to the Economic Development Authority. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Oppose? Nay? No one. So the motion carries. The next item then is item 9. And this is an update on the Lindahl property. And Ms. Faulkner, and I think Mr. Martinson is here also. Ms. Faulkner, you want to start out?
Correct. Madam Mayor, members of the council, Mr. Martinson is here today to give you an update. Their work continues out there. They have not called for the inspections for their final license, but he can certainly give you an update as to where they're at on their construction.
Good evening, Mr. Martinson, and I'm glad you're feeling much better.
Thank you. My voice is somewhat back, and I know my address now. It's 13482 Brunswick Avenue South in Savage. I lived there for only 3 months. You've got to forgive me. I don't know my address. We've got on the project, we're awaiting carpeting, going to be installed by Home Depot on the 12525 building. We have all the appliances. We have an electrical contract signed. We're waiting for the electrician to show up, install the fire lights. I expect we should be done with the 12525 building in about 2 weeks. Then I'll call for an inspection. I don't foresee anything at this point that will prevent that from happening, so we should be complete with the project in a couple weeks.
All buildings, that's the last one.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Martin said you have done a yeoman's work on this project.
Thank you.
And so, thank you. Even when you were very sick, it sounds like you kept the crew moving.
Yes, and I wanted to add, again, thanks for the cooperation with the inspection department. Ann Lindahl is going to have to go down for continuing education for her licensing. Beth Lindahl is going to take her position at the next council meeting, and Bruce Melkerson should be back at that meeting. Hopefully, if all goes well, that'll be the last one I have to attend.
Thank you, Mr. Martinson. Any questions for Mr. Martinson? Thank you so much for the update, and thank you for coming in and letting us know that you're on schedule. Thank you. Members of the council, there's no more items to come before the body this evening, and a motion to adjourn is in order.
So moved.
Second.
Councilmember Coughlin makes a motion, second by Councilmember Sherry. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Good night, and thank you for being with us.